Alright, I'm a bit confused. Okay. Hello, I'm Scotty. You know the whole thing. So I watched this, Tak3n, or Tak3n, as the title suggests, and what I'm gonna put as the title of this video, Tak3n, because I like it when they style the letters with the Scream 5 should have been 5 cream, not. I know what they were doing, but still. Should have been a 5. It was so creative, and they just. No, we're going to call it Scream because we're commenting on the requel thing, which was not a word until that movie made it a word, and everyone calls those requels, and they don't understand what requels are. Because someone could say, oh, that's a long-awaited sequel. Someone called Dumb and Dumber a requel, and I'm like, Dumb and Dumber 2 a requel. I'm like, that's a sequel. A requel is going back and erasing certain films. And yes, they're like, oh, but it's a requel because it erases the prequel. But the prequel is not a sequel. It's a prequel. It takes place before the first film. That was never canon anyway. I'm just saying. Now, if they did The Mask 2 with Jim Carrey coming back, that would be a requel because technically Son of the Mask was in the canon of that. And so they go back and it's a requel. But people don't get it, right? Anyway, what was I talking about? So I watched this movie, Tak3n, whatever you want to call it. And I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was better than the second one. I had a good time with it. And then I watched a couple reviews. I'll just say them. Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, respectable critics, YouTubers, critics. Not now, Big LT. No, go away. I am recording review. Go away. I respect their opinions. So they're not wrong, they're not right, it's their opinions. No, if anyone who has opinions, they're not wrong, they're not right, it's their opinions. However, neither of them liked the second one, and I thought the second one was fine. I didn't like the fact that Liam Neeson was dumbed down. Not dumbed down, held down. Because I'm held down throughout the film. In this film, he gets a lot more to do. And yes, I agree with Jeremy Johns, this is like a crappier version. He said shittier, but I say crappier because I don't think it's a terrible movie whatsoever. But it's a crappier version of The Fugitive. I also agree with Chris Stuckman that Oliver Megaton sucks at directing action scenes. I was like, who? I see this action scenes. I'm like, this is just like the second one. They got the same guy. The same guy to direct this film. Why? He gave you a shitty, crappy, I'll say crappy, a crappy, because shitty implies that the movie is shit. I think all three of these are decent in their own ways. I could see myself rewatching them, maybe in a binge session. But if I just want to watch one, it's the first one. But, yeah, the action scenes, they're crap. He can't direct action scenes. He can't direct action scenes worth crap, and they gave him movies like this, Transporter 3, Colombiana, which I haven't seen, and after watching these, now, like I said in my previous review, Transporter 3, didn't hate it, but I struggled to remember anything from it. I remember the first film as that woman that he's transporting, and the second one is the kid he's trying to save. The third one, blank. So there you know. I'm probably going to remember the two Tak3n movies because Liam Neeson is a badass, which he is. But this is very much The Fugitive with Liam Neeson and not as good. Fugitive is a great film. You should watch The Fugitive if you want to watch something like this. You can watch this too if you're going to watch all the Tak3n movies, but I'm just saying. So the story here, Lenore, his ex-wife, is murdered in his apartment. He is found guilty of the murder, and right away something felt off, because when he goes back to his place expecting his wife, because he gave her his spare key, He steps on the knife and picks it up. And I went, Brian, you're CIA. You should know not to do that. That right there told me they don't know what the fuck they're writing about in this movie. They're like, I'm like, who? They weren't thinking. Brian Mills, the character from the first film, would not pick that up. Like, no, something else. But then after this scene, we go through the entire film where they keep saying, "Oh, you don't know him. He's a badass. You don't know him. You don't know his set of skills. You don't know what he does." Yeah, this man with all a particular set of skills and the smarts and CIA know-how couldn't figure out not to pick up a knife, right? And from minute one, so this film has what I would call they will call a twist with the true villain of this movie that I caught on from the very beginning because they recasted the character. As mentioned, Dougray Scott now plays the character of Stuart, Lenore's second husband, who was played by some other guy in the first film. And then they cast Dougray Scott, and I went, right. The way he's dressed with the suits and everything, I'm like, okay, that guy. I said bad guy. I had villain and bad guy. Bad guy. That's why they cast Dougray Scott, because the other guy would not be believable as a bad guy. No way. That guy, goof. Dougray Scott, villain. Not a good villain, but villain nonetheless. And yeah. However, the way they play his character is that he's trying to pretend to be innocent because he's set up Brian and the Russian mobsters he owes money to, because he had the Russian mobsters kill Lenny because he has a life insurance policy on her, and so that Brian would go after her because his daughter was now in danger. Go after the Russian guy. His daughter was now in danger, and kill him so all his problems are solved. Yeah, they try to tack that on with a twist when the daughter finds a message that was deleted. Somehow she finds it. I don't know how she finds it. I didn't catch on to that. And she sends it to him like, hey, she catches on. And so then Stuart becomes the villain. I went, yeah, no shit, it's Dougray Scott. I would have believed the plea of innocence and the twist if it was the other actor. If we brought back that guy to play the same character, I would have been hooked into the twist. I was like, okay, that works. You know, him pleading, I owed them money, so they killed her, and then they try to come out, the whole thing. But because this guy who played him in the first film wasn't a high-profile actor, wasn't good enough to be a villain of a film, you hire Dougray Scott, who still not good enough because he's stuck in Mission Impossible 2, but he works better. But if you're going to do the twist that he's a surprise villain, don't hire someone who's villain-like. Don't dress him like he's a villain. From the minute he walked down in his little suit into Brian's apartment, I went, yeah, he's the villain. He's a bad guy. Whatever is going to happen, he's going to be behind it. And I don't know if I need to say this, judging by what I gave as the plot synopses, but we have a Taken movie where no one is taken, except for the daughter at the end. And again, I gotta call out stupidity. Stuart knows that Brian will stop at nothing to get his daughter. He banked on that to kill, so that Brian would kill the Russian mobster. So what does he do? Kidnaps his daughter. You're an idiot. You are an idiot. Why would you do that? That makes no sense. And I mean to talk about the scene where Liam Neeson dies in a car accident, but doesn't. There's a whole chase where he's being attacked by Russian mobster people in his car, another car, and he falls off a cliff. The thing explodes. But the next scene, he's just fine. Okay, this is turned into Die Hard 5, where Bruce Willis, John McClane is just indestructible now. Okay? And you can tell what's going on because the action scenes is directed like shit. But all that said, I did enjoy this more. I was entertained more in this film. I was hooked. I did go on one little tangent about rearranging the apartment again, but I snapped out of it pretty quick. I like that his CIA buddies are involved more, especially Sam, who was only a voice in the last one, even though Leon Orser got a credit for that. But here they're more into it. And I liked Forrest Whitaker. I thought he was pretty good as the cop. He's nowhere near Tommy Lee Jones in there because he keeps saying, I'm going to bring you in. And it's not like he doesn't care. He keeps saying, I got to bring you in so I can learn the facts. And he says at the end that he knew from the very beginning that something was off because of the bagels he bought. They were still warm. Where do you get warm bagels? I don't know. Warm bagels. And he doubted that he would kill his wife and then get bagels. So that's basically saying, well, if Brian had not, been Brian and just went to talk to him, they probably could have solved it quickly. But yeah, that's all it was Stewart trying to get the life insurance to pay off the Russian mob, but then, using Brian, having the Russian mob kill Lenore, and then trying to convince Brian that the Russian mob was going to go after his daughter next so that he would kill the Russian mobster. I don't think the mobster guy died. And when they showed a thing for a tattoo on his hand, like, oh, are they connected to the guys from the first two? No, it's just another hand tattoo. They're Russian, which, I don't know, I felt like if you're going to connect it in some way, shape, or form, connect it. As stupid as it would be, and as nonsensical it would be, you could reveal that Stewart was behind her kidnapping in the first film because he wanted to get rid of her. And now everything has changed, and so he was the one who told them, about where they were, because they do show that in the next one, in the second one, that Stewart, that they get information from, I think, wasn't it? Was it Stewart, or was it? No, it was the inspector guy from the first one who doesn't show up anymore after that. That's where they got it from. Sorry. But that Stewart was the one who told them about stuff. They could have tried to make a connection or something like they did with The Hangover, where they kind of connected all three in a way, but it's really just the first two that it connected. But, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I did enjoy this more. The action was still not good because Megatron doesn't know how to direct action scenes. They're shittily edited. And even the music, from the beginning, the music goes dun 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 dun. I'm like, what is this? What is this music? Boom, 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 boom. Is this supposed to be ominous, or is this like a children's piano recital? What is this? I don't know, but for some reason I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it more than the second one, not as much as the first one. It's still a middle of the road, but it's higher up than the second one because I actually paid attention. There was more action stuff, as badly edited as it was. There was more action stuff to it. Liam Neeson wasn't tied down for a portion of the movie. There wasn't anything as stupid as the whole grenade thing, except for at the end where he tells Forrest Whitaker that his priority is saving his daughter, and immediately crashes into the airplane that she's on. By the way, she's pregnant. We find it out towards the beginning of the movie that she's pregnant. We see her with the, pregnancy test, and she ends up telling her dad. He knows she's pregnant, and then they say that if it's a girl, they're gonna name it after her mom. You can still name it after her if it's a boy, Lenny, Leonard, Lenny. You can still name it. Either way, if it's a boy or a girl, Lenoir. If it's a girl, Leonard. If it's a guy, if it's a boy, Lenny, that sort of thing. You know, Famke Janssen, she's still good for the short role that she has in this. I was sitting there going, who's gonna get taken this time? Is it the wife? Something? Is it gonna be Stewart? Who knows? This movie starts off with someone, the Russians, going to a bank and killing someone and calling someone. I'm assuming that's Stewart they were calling as a warning, I guess. At first I'm like, what does this have to do with it? Like, usually we start off with, I don't know, family stuff, and we start off with this. I'm like, what is this? What's the connection? And I guess that's supposed to be Stewart that they call. I guess, but then again, I don't know. I was skeptical when I saw Dougray Scott was in this. I'm like, they're not turning into a villain, are they? As soon as they show him in that suit, I went, yep, that's what they're doing. The Stewart from the first film would not be a villain. I would tell you that much. That guy was too dopey, too goofy to be. And he cared about Lenny. All right, he cared about Lenny. He cared about the stepdaughter. No, there's no way that guy would be a villain, even if he owed money. If they brought that guy back and had the whole I owe money thing, it would be believable that the twist would happen, but still, that guy could not be a villain. I don't know. The whole villain twist just has me up in arms. But it's still a middle of the road for me. But again, if I'm going to watch a Taken movie, it's going to be the first one. It's the best, bar none. They didn't make any more after this. They made a TV series. I haven't seen that. I don't know if there's any way you can stream it, but yeah, it's the middle of the road. That's all I can say. So what are your thoughts on Taken 3? Tak3n. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And the next series I'm going to do, after I do another movie tomorrow, that's a 2023 film that's coming to Paramount Plus tomorrow. It's a horror movie. After I do that, then on Wednesday, I'm going to start the Never-Ending Story trilogy. Turn around, never-ending story. That's right, the trilogy. I know there's only 2 films, but look. Open. The first 2 films are on this disc, and this is an extra disc that has the third one. It was like a special. It was like a collection of movies that had like this one has Never-Ending Story 3 and A Wrinkle in Time, and side B has Into the West and King of the Wind. And there was another disc that came with it, but I only wanted the Never-Ending Story 3 anyway. Yeah, I have a history with those. I like the first one. Second one's okay. Third one, we'll get to that. But anyway, thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.